During Sketchy's 30 Faces in 30 Days, I received a special request from my beautiful mother in law, Gloria, and she challenged me to try and draw her face. This sketch began in my sketchbook, a very rough drawing, and I wasn't pleased with the likeness I was getting, so I imported the sketch into Procreate and I began playing around with basically Frankensteining my sketch, trying to get a closer resemblance to what I believe she looks like in person. And I don't normally start with a mouth, but I really thought if I could get her mouth right, that perhaps the rest of it would make more sense and I could create a more likeness than I had achieved in my sketch. That was the hope, at least. The hard part is if your sketch isn't right, it doesn't always occur to you later how to fix it. But I proceeded ahead, and you can see I'm trying to establish a color palette for her face. This particular drawing, she's wearing a blue to purple tone shirt, and I used some of the blue and purple tones, but she also is a lover of vibrant tones, kind of in the orange family, and so I wanted to use some of those tones to kind of show her personality. She is spunky, she's out there exercising, and she's always going to be more glamorous than I am, and so I really wanted to show that in the color that I used, even though it wasn't necessarily the exact colors from her portrait. So you can see I go about creating this portrait. Her hair was especially difficult for me since she has tone to her hair and a shape to it, but it doesn't really yield itself to drawing in individual hairs. So you can see I took a more, I don't know if abstract is the word, but kind of more filling in tones of color as opposed to trying to draw individual hairs. And in general, I was kind of pleased with using that method with her. So I may have added a few hairs here and there, but for the most part, kind of kept it loose. Now, this recording is a long one. And so I am going to pop in when this portrait is finished, because that is where I realized I just have not gotten close enough to likeness. And then I will describe, when we get to that point, what I decided to do about it. So I'm approaching the end of this portrait. I think it's a nice portrait, but I don't think there's enough likeness to Gloria. And it's frustrating to me, so I decided to post the portrait in the Sketchy group and see what input they had. They gave me lots of great ideas. I began to kind of reapproach it. You can see here I put her photo back in, and I decided to trace her face, because I thought maybe that would help me get a feel for what might be going wrong in my portrait also. I tried several different things. I tried overlaying it, but I couldn't figure out how to actually see if the portrait is very close to what I wanted. So I abandoned all these things and decided to Frankenstein the picture. I cut and pasted, moved in tiny increments, using the input that I'd gotten from the other sketchy artists. And then I used my eraser, erased a lot of the coloring in I had done, and began painting it in. And as I took note of their suggestions and started making adjustments, I realized I was starting to see her face emerge. One of the areas that was a common comment was the chin, the glasses, the eyes, some the width of the nose, and the nostrils, and paying attention to shadows. And so I went about concentrating on those areas. I think the length of the neck was another one that was mentioned by Mike. There was probably about 6 or 8 different people that made comments. I'll try to list them at the end so you can see your credit for the help that you gave me. But what resulted was a portrait that was much closer to the original. I am so happy with it, and she likes it also. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.